Is this a Mustang?
I gotta tell you.
Hi, this is Larry with the Electric Vehicle Club of Connecticut, and today we're joined by Liz, and we're going to see this beautiful Mustang Mach-E. Liz, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So is this your first electric car?
This is my first electric car. My father has been into electric cars for a little while, so I got to drive them a little bit, but this is the first one that's all mine.
Oh, great. Okay. And what got you interested in why did you buy an electric car?
So it's kind of been a long time coming that I've been looking at cars. I am a car lover, a car appreciator. I definitely get that from my father. I love when we go on vacation and I get to rent a new car and drive a new car. So, you know, I'm always looking around. My stepson turned 17, got his driver's license, and it was time to pass the car I had onto him, which I was more than happy to do. And then I knew I wanted an electric. I was excited by just the new technology of it. I loved driving my dad's car. I loved the way they felt on the highway. And I have quite a commute. I drive to and from work, and then also I do consulting-like work, so I'm driving from my office to other places. I drive about 2,000 miles a month, and I was spending about $300 a month on gas. So the idea of just the cost saving, the maintenance saving of an EV really appealed to me.
Wow, that's a lot of driving,
It's a lot.
That's a lot of gas too, huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Do you have a sense as to how much you actually save by driving electric as opposed to the gas and oil and so forth?
So I haven't gotten my first electric bill yet, but I'm estimating on the safe side about $60 to $70 a month in electric. So, I mean, definitely more than $200 a month.
Yeah, so that's a big savings.
That's a big savings, yeah, for sure.
And you know, with electric cars, you don't have the maintenance that you do with an internal combustion car. There's no oil to change, there's no transmission fluids, no engine belts, no exhaust systems, no alternators, you know, et cetera,
I said goodbye to my mechanic when I bought this car. I shook his hand and said, I won't see you for a while, yeah.
There you go, there you go. In fact, one of the things we had been talking about earlier today is the brake systems, because typically you use regenerative braking, then you can save on brake jobs. Typically 150,000 miles between brake jobs seems to be about normal.
Yeah, I use the one pedal driving all the time. I wasn't sure if I would like it at first, but for me it was very easy to get used to. The only time I touch the brake is maybe a couple times a day when I just miscalculate the speed, or if I do get stuck in traffic and things happen there. But for the most part, I am using just the one pedal driving.
Okay. Yeah. And how did you adapt to that? Did it come naturally? Or?
I guess I would say it did come pretty naturally. There's a feature in this car, probably in others, that allows you, I think it's called a brake assist coach. So it shows, after you brake, it shows how much has been regenerated. And so that helped to kind of teach me the type of braking that it was looking for, the type of letting off the gas that it was looking for. And you know, it just took me probably a week or two to just adapt from when I pick my foot up, where I would have put it on the brake, right, where I'm taking it fully off. Yeah, and I still keep it on because I like to see when I hit 100, you know, 100%.
There you go. And I guess that was fairly seamless to adapt to that. Is there I know you drive a lot, probably on highways, which means you're in traffic a lot, right? So is there a feature where the car will drive itself or maintain the distance to the next car so you don't have to constantly put your foot on the gas and the brake and all that kind of stuff?
So just with the adaptive cruise control, it can do that. Yep, it can do that. I can set a specified amount of distance between me and the car in front of me, and it will slow down to a full stop and go up to whatever speed I've set it to. My model does not have the autonomous driving, but the other models of the Mach-E do have the highway autonomous driving.
And will it maintain lane control, so you're in this lane, it'll stay there? And
I can put on the lane monitors, right? So it'll kind of jerk the wheel a little bit if I'm coming out of the lane. That's not a feature I use regularly, but it can do that. Yeah, but I'm still steering it, right? I still need to keep it in the lane. It'll alert me when I go over it.
Well, you'd be an excellent candidate for evaluating self-driving and autonomous driving and so forth.
Yeah, you know, I'll be honest with you. That stuff is interesting. It excites me. I was really looking for a car that I loved as a car, even if it weren't an electric vehicle. I love the way the car looks. I love the way it feels inside, and the fact that it's an electric car is a bonus. I was not as interested in every tech feature under the sun. They're cool, don't get me wrong, but I think I needed to find kind of a happy medium between, you know, a space car and a regular car, right?
Between a science experiment.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So we've been talking a lot about the driving experience. Can you just delve into that a little bit more? Is it like really zippy? Does it go around the corners nice and flat? Is it something that you actually enjoy, or is it a little scary, or what would you?
Oh, I enjoy it. Maybe, you know, I guess some people might find it a little scary, but for me, it's what I was looking for. There's different modes. So I'm normally driving in the engage mode, which is kind of your middle of the road, normal kind of mode to be driving the car. There's the unbridled mode, which I turn that thing on and I just kind of feel the whole car like gather up underneath me. That's what I was driving when I took the test drive. And you know, we come around, you always want to get on the highway on a test drive. So from the time I put my foot down till it took me to look my eyes down at the speed limit, I was already from 25 to 70. And I don't know how long that is, a part of a second. So that was exciting. And there's also a whisper mode, which I think would probably be best for city driving, you know, not getting up to high speeds, lots of stop and go.
You know, as a public service announcement, we should say that when you first have an electric car, and
watch
you first
the speedometer.
Watch the speedometer, because you'll get on that car, you'll go on a highway, and you think,
yeah,
why is everyone going so slow? And you look down, and it's because I'm going 85 miles an hour. Yeah. Okay. All
There's
right.
not the normal feel and sound that you've gotten used to gauge your speed. So.
Right. Oh, that's great. Well, it's certainly a lot of fun to talk to you. It's a beautiful car. No doubt about it. It's a big seller for Ford. They're you know, can sell as many as they can make, I think.
Yep.
Why did you choose the Mach-E, and did you look at other cars?
So I looked a lot, you know, just online, right? And I looked a lot, and like I said before, I really wanted something that looked to me like a quote unquote normal car. And I really needed all-wheel drive. I needed a trunk that I can haul groceries in. I needed a back seat where my kids can sit. You know, I'm still an active mom and I needed somewhat of a mom car. So, you know, I liked this car. I liked the ID4. The ID4 it was going to be a while until I was able to get it. I actually did have an order in starting, I think I placed the order March 2021, and I probably would not have received that car till spring, maybe even summer of 2022. So once I realized that's what was going on, I decided to give a look at I knew the Mach-E was out there. Honestly, my dad has the ID4, so I think that's what I was comfortable with. And then I started exploring the Mach-Es. There were a handful on lots about a month ago. I think there still are some on lots. And so I went out and drove it, and then I fell in love with it. And I'm very happy that I went with the Mach-E.
Okay, great. So what sort of features do you really appreciate? What sort of things do you like that really make it your kind of car?
I love how it has I do the Android Auto, it has the Apple Play. I love having my phone being able to be completely integrated with my car. It's very comfortable. I like the seats, I like the layout. I like the storage that it has in the console. It's called kind of multi-level storage. As far as electric cars, I like how this one has a display right behind the steering wheel. So kind of what, where we're used to seeing our speed, our how full or empty our gas tank is, that type of thing. I still have that right there. So I can see my speed, I can see how my range left on my battery, and I can kind of ignore the large display. All right, so the charge port is right up here. The capacity is divided up into 5 kind of, not quadrants, but 5 sections there, and it'll show me kind of where it is and at what point it's at in the charging.
So while we're here, how do you charge the car? Charge it home or on the road? I know you're driving a lot of miles.
Yeah, so this car actually comes with a charger. They call it a portable charger. You can have a 140 or 120 or 240 volt attachment to it. Right. So I got the plug installed in my garage, and I'm just using that charger. It's good. It's got 32 amps as opposed to maybe 40 or more. So it might take a little bit longer to charge, but until I feel the need to get another one, I'm happy with the one that it came with. It's been pretty easy to use. So I charge it about every other night, usually.
And 32 amps is about average for a home install. And that probably gets you something on the order of 20 or 25 miles of range per hour. Yeah,
that sounds about right. I charge it overnight, right? So I come home and let it sit for a while, and then once it's nice and cool, I'll plug it in, and I don't have to worry about it. It's fully charged before I need to get it in the morning. So
that's interesting. You're traveling 2,000 miles a year, a month.
Yeah.
But you don't have to charge it every day.
No, not at all. Not at all. Okay. I could, if I were willing to be really risky and push it, I might be able to get 3 days out of it, depending on what I have on my calendar for those 3 days. Right. But I'm plenty safe with all that I drive, and running the AC lately. It'll be running the heat soon enough, and playing podcasts or music through my phone and all that, and I have plenty for 2 days.
Okay.
Plenty.
Right. And have you used the third-party chargers like Electrify America or EVgo?
I've used EVgo, and I'm surprised at how many of those are around. There's tons of EVgos. When you purchase a Mach-E, you get a 2-year membership to their charging network, which allows you to have a single payment system set up for all of the major charging systems around.
And the first 2 years, is that free charging?
It's not free charging.
Okay.
It's free membership to this charging network. You do get, I think we get 250 kilowatts at Electrify America.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's charging. It seems like it's fairly easy to do. It seems like it's convenient. So, that's terrific. I know it's a concern that a lot of people have when they look at an electric car.
I'm sure.
And like you said, you charge it at home at night. That usually is enough. But when you're a long distance trip, EVgo, Electrify America, ChargePoint, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, and you can even get the adapter to use the Tesla chargers as well. So
the Tesla chargers, they're starting by the end of the year in Europe, and we think Q1, Q2 next year, you'll be able to use those. And of course, the Tesla chargers are everywhere.
Yeah.
So that will take any concern about, charging on a highway. Well, listen, let's see. Can we see the front here?
Sure. I'm going to open up the door. This is something that people tend to get a kick out of, the little button here. And then you pull. First time I picked my kid up after school, the teacher had no idea how to get him in the car.
Okay.
So I keep my shopping bags in the front here, usually. But yeah, here's the front. These inserts can come out, and you can have a whole open space right there. People also get a kick out of seeing that the windshield, the wiper fluid is pretty much the only thing I need to worry about. It's all I really need access to.
Yeah. And I have to ask you this question, silly as it sounds, but did Ford explain why they put a divider in?
I didn't ask, they didn't explain. Maybe it's just a way to, store smaller things. I have, gotten stuff at the grocery store and put a couple grapefruits right here, and they didn't roll around. So, maybe it's just as an option, but it can come out and you can have the whole open space. Yeah.
Yeah, terrific. Well, certainly a lot of storage. Should we see the trunk?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah, and then maybe we'll have a look at the interior after that.
Okay.
It's a beautiful color.
I love the color. Honestly,
Yeah.
This is why I went to the specific dealership that I went to, because I saw this one online and I love the color.
Okay.
So as somebody who was using this car for all day, everyday driving, I love being able to open the trunk with my foot like that. That first one unlocked it.
So when your arms
This
are
one's
filled
open.
with
Your arms are
groceries
filled
or
with
kids,
groceries when you got stuff in there. Yeah, both seats can come down, and under here is a little storage area for the charger that came with it.
Right.
So
Okay.
it comes with a little bag, and you can have it in there if you want to bring it with
That's
you.
a lot of trunk space. And the seats fold back.
Seats, both seats, one seat, yeah, they
Yeah.
all fold back.
Yeah.
Carried some lumber in here a couple weekends ago because we're working on the stairwell in our garage. So yeah.
Well, why don't we hop inside and let's see what this interior looks like. Okay, so here we are inside the car. Looks terrific. You have the central touchscreen there, which is really large. And then you have a smaller screen in front of the steering wheel there. Yeah. So tell us about that. What do you typically use when you're driving? Are you looking at the smaller screen in front of the steering wheel?
So I'm looking mostly up here at this display.
Okay.
If I turn on navigation, I can get my turn-by-turn directions right here,
Okay.
whereas the map is over here. Honestly, sometimes, especially if I'm driving in the evening and I don't need my navigation, I can put it on a certain setting, and this whole thing just kind of
Goes dark mode?
goes dark.
Yeah.
Calm screen like that, and that's kind of nice. Again, especially when it's dark, when I don't need it, to just not have it as a visual distraction.
So right in front of you, so you have the range. That's great. Your speed.
Yep. This will show the speed limit signs, so it'll read the speed limit signs as we go past, and it'll show me what the speed limit is.
Okay, great. And I see there are a fair number of buttons and on the stalks and so forth. So do you still use the buttons, the switches, and the dials, or are you using the touch screen? How do you do that?
So this is really kind of, here's your audio settings, your Bluetooth settings. Here's your cruise control settings. This is what I was referring to earlier when you can decide how close or how far you want it to set. So again, kind of like normal traditional car stuff. It's got the rain sensing windshield wipers, so I just kind of keep that as is. I don't really have to touch this.
So when you first started driving the car, was it a sort of a seamless transition to this particular interior?
I had no problem transitioning. Honestly, there was nothing about it that felt uncomfortably different.
Okay.
The manual's right here if I need it. I needed to just figure out a couple little things with some of the automatic sensing windshield wipers and things like that, but honestly it was a quick look up and then I figured it out. Once you just set it to where you want it to be, it'll do it.
Okay. And the online manual, there on the screen is important because as they update the car through over-the-air updates, the manual then of course updates as well.
Exactly.
So it's always current.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the round dial at the bottom of the touchscreen, what is that used for, and does that work for you?
This is just for volume. I tend to adjust my volume here on the steering wheel, but honestly, this was kind of eye-catching, and it's just for volume.
Okay. And your gear selector is there on the round dial to your right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's sort of a traditional way to do things.
Yes. The parking brake is here, and then for the park assist, this is what that's there for.
And park assist helps you parallel park?
It can, yeah.
Backup camera?
There we go. Thank you. So that's a nice clear screen.
Yeah, and it makes a little beeping noise. You can hear it. It makes a little beeping noise when you're in reverse.
So to start the car, do you actually have to push a button, or do you just go into gear?
So your foot needs to be on the brake,
Okay.
and you push the start button right here.
Okay.
If your foot is not on the brake, it will turn the displays on, and then it'll alert you that you have to put your foot on the brake.
Okay, good. Okay. So pretty fail-safe in terms of learning how to drive.
Yeah, I mean, those were just some of those little features, I think, is what made me have such an easy transition with some of the controls being here. I know my dad's car, you sit down and it turns the car on, and then I got out of the car and I wasn't positive it was off. It was, of course it was, but you know, it might have been a little bit of a harder transition. This is still a little more traditional when it comes to stepping on the brake to start it and so forth.
And the seats are comfortable?
I think the seats are great. They have, you know, it has the memory and the lumbar support, which is important for long driving, but I find the seats to be very comfortable. They kind of hug you on the sides, and the stitching is pretty attractive too.
It really does look pretty neat.
Yeah.
You know, it's not too aggressive,
Right.
but it does give you a little bit of detail that makes it look pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the materials look great, and the fit and finish certainly looks terrific. So why don't we pop out? We'll just take a look at anything else we may have missed. So tell us about the dealer experience. It's a traditional, you go to the dealer. Tell us about that.
I think I probably had a little bit of a different experience than most EV buyers in that I didn't pre-order the car, right? I had a vehicle pre-ordered that I wound up canceling, and then I just walked onto the lot like anybody would walk onto the lot to buy a car. And test drove it and decided to buy it, right? And, you know, I will say, I don't think this is a fault of the dealership at all, but they were a little unsure on some of the specifics, right? Because it's such a new product. And I still don't think that they're selling enough of them to have it be part of the regular sales conversation, right? So, you know, we had to go back and forth a little bit. I asked some questions, and then I went home and kind of Googled things and realized, wait, he said, you know, so, but I had a fairly easy experience. Ford is doing a little bit of an interesting financing option where it's not quite the same as a lease in that you can kind of put down whatever you want to put down, and then you yourself get the federal tax credit. I know some other companies, some other manufacturers take that right off the MSRP, take that tax credit if you are leasing right off the MSRP. So Ford gives you the tax credit, your payments turn out to what they turn out to be, and then they give you a balloon payment amount at the end of your lease.
So is it like a lease, or is it just a loan type
It's
thing?
like buying it with the option of turning it back in after those terms are up. Or your balloon payment, they call it a balloon payment, is set. From when I bought the car and drove it off the lot, I knew what my balloon payment would be at the end of the lease term if I wanted to buy it, or I could just hand over the keys and hand it back in.
Well, that's an interesting model then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know on lease deals, a lot the dealer has to take the credit.
Right.
But then they usually reduce your payment in
Right.
some way, so that's
Right.
Ford's doing a
So
little different. Okay.
I'm not sure, you know, I don't know why they did it that way, but it took me a minute to figure out what they were talking about.
Yeah,
And
right.
again, because it's relatively new, the salespeople I were working with, you know, needed to double check some things on their end. So it took a little bit of me doing some research and figuring things out on the back end because it's so new.
Well, most cars, you know, they've been selling them forever.
Right.
And every year there's a little thing that changes or two.
Right.
So that there's no real learning curve.
Exactly.
This is a whole different technology. It drives differently, so it's, you know, it's understandable that it would take a while. to come up to
Exactly.
speed. Okay.
And, you know, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen in 3 years when my lease is up, but the balloon payment that they gave me at the end was pretty low, and I imagine I'll be able to sell it for, if I don't want to keep it, I'll be able to sell it for more than that balloon payment amount at the end of 3 years.
There are a number of EVs now from a different manufacturer called Tesla, which the used cars in some cases are selling for more than a new car.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that.
So yeah, it's an interesting place in the market right
Yeah,
now.
so I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens 3 years from now. But you know,
Terrific. Okay.
it made sense. It just took a little understanding.
There you go. So I have to ask you one more question. You probably know what the question is, right? Is this a Mustang?
I gotta tell you, I have a lot of people that have stopped me in parking lots, or people that are work on the campus where I work, and they've said, you know, this car is so cool. I love everything about it. I just wish they didn't call it a Mustang, because they are diehard, right? Old Mustang lovers. I think it's a Mustang. I think that it's fun, it's powerful, it's a beautiful car. I love driving and seeing that kind of scalloped hood in front of me. I think it's a Mustang. I think it's just, you know, the next generation.
Terrific. Well, great. Well, so thank you very much, Liz. We really appreciate your time today and sharing your experiences and helping us learn about the Mach-E. And we wish you good and safe driving.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
Backup light. That was awesome.